Welcome back to the Sounds of Stadia podcast for episode number 143 of your weekly show where we round up all of the gaming and Stadia news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/Helix Cloud Games or up there in the digital cloud on your podcast preference of choice. This week you join myself, Chris, alongside the ever-present, the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
You know what? I'm excited today. We've got some news to share with you guys. We've been teasing stuff. We're ready to talk about it.
We certainly are. We do have a great show lined up, but as Richie just mentioned there, we've got a big announcement. We're going to tell you it literally off the back of this after I've introduced the show. But don't forget, before I do that, before I even get into all that, give the video a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the great content, both new and old, right here at Helix Cloud Games. We do appreciate your support. Everyone out there are amazing Helix heroes, and we do have a fantastic show lined up for you. We're going to be talking about plenty of new game trials coming to Stadia. Some new big games have got ratings in countries that don't even seem to have Stadia, which is a bit weird, but we'll get into all that. Some new titles drop this very week, and a Hideo Kojima game that apparently was coming but is no longer, alongside all of the other great Stadia and gaming news up there in the clouds. We're going to get into it all, but as Richie said, we've got a big show with a big announcement. So, ladies and gentlemen, myself and Richie are pleased to announce that after much thought, much process about the state of the channel, we're thrilled to bits of the amazing audience we've grew over the last 2.5, nearly 3 years actually, Richie. We are, after all, on the cusp of 150 episodes of this very Stadia podcast in a couple of weeks' time. And like most content creators, like most creative outlets, we want to expand our horizons and think about what we can do differently, and more importantly, what we can do for you, our lovely audience out there. And after throwing some ideas around, we've had plenty of stuff in the works. We've commissioned some stuff to be done, and it's not come to fruition yet. We're still waiting to see what happens. But we are absolutely delighted to announce that we are going to be growing the Helix Cloud Games family. We are going to be bringing some new faces, some new voices on board. Do not fear. These two lovely faces will still be here. I was going to say as clean shaven as ever, but I don't think we've had a clean face.
No, I'm not clean shaven right now.
Not at all. But we will be here as an immediate touch point. The Sounds of Stadia podcast, just like all the other announcements we've made in the past, it's not changing. It's not going everywhere. You'll still be able to get it every Monday right here on YouTube. All your podcast services. Nothing is changing on that front. You'll still get all of your Stadia goodness from us, the guys at Helix Cloud Games. But like I said, we do want to grow the channel. We want to look at new horizons, new opportunities, and cloud gaming is only getting bigger. We've said it for months, years at this point, Richie. We're in its absolute infancy. And our audience knows, you awesome viewers and listeners out there, will know that me and Richie are not just Stadia fans. We are gamers through and through across multiple platforms. Love a bit of Xbox here and there, PC gaming. We both have Switches. We've got a rich heritage across the gaming landscape. But there is one thing that we're both very, very passionate about, and we have some friends who are very passionate about it as well, and that is PlayStation, Richie. The audience knows it. We discuss it every now and again, scattered throughout the show. We're both massive PlayStation fans, and they are on the cusp of entering the cloud gaming market bigger than they ever have done before with the new PlayStation Plus lineup. Hundreds of games dating back through classics to our childhood, back to the PlayStation 1 era, all the way through. So we are delighted to not only bring two new faces on board to the Helix Cloud Games channel, but also bring a brand new show, a brand new podcast where we are going to round up all of the cloud gaming and PlayStation news every single week right here for you. Every Tuesday, we're going to pilot it on a Tuesday, see how it goes. For your listening or viewing pleasure. Podcast services is going to go up on there as you expect to see the Sounds of Stadia podcast and our CloudQuest show. But Richie, I want to throw it over to you. I've spoken a little bit there for a lot of time. We've got a great intro we're going to tease in just a moment of the show. We've commissioned some new pixel art to be done. New soundtrack with sound effects and everything. I'm super excited. We've been sitting on this one for a while. Just throw it over to you. Give your quick takes on the excitement that's building behind the scenes here.
Well, as you said, we're both massive fans of PlayStation, especially with some of the first-party studio stuff. But with the changes to PlayStation Plus incorporating cloud gaming, there's a huge back catalogue of games going as far back It goes all the way back to PS1, including things like PSP. I don't think there was much in the way of Vita yet, but it could come yet. It could come. So I think with the premium version of PlayStation Pro, you can get everything from PS1 all the way up to PS4 plus PSP in the cloud. And I think that is just one of them opportunities for us as PlayStation fans and as cloud gaming fans. Is like, we can't not do a show on this.
Yeah, it really is that case, and I don't have a capture card. I don't have the patience to rig my PS5 up with an Elgato thing. So the fact that it's all in the cloud, I think it presents us a really good opportunity to help grow the channel, bring you some fresh news content, some brand new game conversation as well, some new faces, because we wanted to expand the channel since Tom's on his maternity leave hiatus. It's been not easy necessarily for you and me to rotate this, and again, we've done this for 143 weeks. On the bounce, solid. There's not a week we've missed on this show, and we hope to bring that kind of energy as well, but we do need some support. So we'll introduce the cast on Tuesday. You'll see the new guys. We're absolutely thrilled to have them on board. They are our close friends as well, so they're going to probably sound very similar to us in terms of accents. So if you can't understand us at this point, good luck with these two extra people as well. But that will all be revealed on the Tuesday.
Just make sure you give them a nice warm welcome to the Helix family.
Yeah, you're all awesome out there. Our audience, they know we're PlayStation fans, and you know the quality we like to bring you every week, so nothing's going to change again. Just to reiterate, Sounds of Stadia podcast is staying the same. CloudQuest will still go up on Fridays. The difference now, Richie, on a Tuesday, if you are subscribed to our channel, if you hit that bell, introducing the name, you will get a brand new episode of Talking the PS. Little play on words there. I'm intrigued to know how this is landing, because I think it's hilarious.
When you pitched it to me, I was like, yeah, that's the name of our show.
So we'll be talking the PS every Tuesday, and we will really just appreciate if you'd come along for the journey. If you don't like it, great. The Stadia content is still here. If you don't like it, great. The cloud content is still there. The live streams will still be there. But what I'm really excited about is digging back into that back catalogue, Richie, of like hundreds and hundreds of games, and bringing our audience along for that crazy journey of experiencing games like Infamous, Ape Escape, Siphon Filter, stuff that I've never had a chance to play as a child in the cloud. It's fun, exciting stuff. And
the one thing I want to stress as well is we're not actually cutting back on any Stadia content. You're still going to get the same amount of Stadia content coming from us. We're adding more stuff to the channel. So if you're worried about us moving away from not covering Stadia, nope, we're still covering Stadia. As Chris has already mentioned, Sounds of Stadia is still going to be there as our Stadia dedicated show. CloudQuest is a cloud gaming general show. Now you're getting even more content from us covering another platform.
You really are. And I'm happy to say right now, but the only time the Sounds of Stadia podcast will die is when Google kills Stadia off. And even then, I still want to go for a few weeks after the fact, just to make fun of the whole scenario and us dedicating hundreds of weeks of our lives to a platform that wasn't long for this world. But it's not. It's still here, as is Xbox, as is PlayStation, as is GeForce Now. And again, our motto on the channel is play whatever makes you the happiest and wherever you find yourself. And the reality is, Richie, if you don't like it, just don't watch it. But we've took a lot of time there to introduce the show. I'm well aware we do have some Stadia news to get to, so thank you for everyone who stuck through all that. Should we show them the intro, Richie?
I think we should.
We should. Here we go, folks. Here it is. The introduction, the pixel art introduction for our pilot episode, episode 1 of Talking the PS. Enjoy. And there it was, Richie. Just like that. I love it. And a nice little quick fun fact about the intro for that one. The noise of the disc tray opening up and the power button at the beginning. That's my very own PlayStation 1 from the background. Recorded sound effects, but I'm a musician now, apparently. I'm not really. Podcaster, musician, what are you going to do? But no, again, appreciate everybody. Our Helix Heroes, your support more than ever means the absolute world. It's allowed us to commission introductions like that. Without your support, it wouldn't happen. I mean, it might, but me and Richie might have to fork out from our own bank account. So we've already put a lot into this channel. So we grow thanks to your love and support. So that's it, Richie. It's off our chest now. It's out into the world.
Secret's out there. We've been talking about this show for months at this point. We've been waiting for the right opportunity.
Yeah, and here it is. PlayStation's evolving, Xbox is evolving, Stadia's evolving, Luna's doing something in the States, GeForce Now is evolving every week, Nintendo's doing some stream games as well. It's an exciting time to be a cloud gamer, and we are thrilled to have you along for the ride. But Richie, without further delay, do introduce us to the
super sexy special Stadia story segment, aka the news.
The news. And do we have a new news routine lined up for the new show? You're damn right we do,
Yeah,
people.
we do.
You're damn right we do. Right, Stadia news. Back to it, folks. We've got a great show lined up, as I did mention. Story number 1 of the week is Capcom had a showcase after the Summer Games Fest event. After they teased a little bit of the RE remake at the State of Play from PlayStation, they decided to go all out and do their own thing as well. And that has brought us some more Resident Evil Village news, which is exciting for not only Google Stadia, but you and me as big Resident Evil Village fans. There is a whole playthrough up on the channel right now where we jump out of our skin several times over. And I guess we have to do it all over again, right, Richie?
Yeah, but this time we'll do it in third person.
Oh, spoilers, that's right. Capcom Showcase happened this week, and they revealed a bunch of stuff. There was non-Stadia content, which we kind of covered on last week's show. Street Fighter 6, they announced some Dragon's Dogma, anniversary content, Monster Hunter Rise, none of which has somehow crawled its way over to the cloud on Stadia just yet. However, the biggest news to take away from it all is that they really, really focused on Resident Evil Village DLC. Now, I think we all kind of expected there was going to be some story content coming along, because that's just, it was their top-selling game of last year, so why wouldn't they go back to that well? And they've teased us with a single-player story expansion called Shadows of Rose, which focuses on, of course, anyone, spoilers who've not played the game, it's the little baby, Richie, the little baby's all grown up.
Yeah.
It is. It's Ethan, the faceless Ethan from Resident Evil Village. Rest in peace, his limbs. She's all grown up. We of course got teased at the end of Resident Evil Village of her living a life as a teenager under the supervision, the watchful eye of I was going to say the FBI, but they've probably got a proper name within the Resident Evil world. And what happens to poor Rose is she seems to go inside the mind of the, what was it called, Mycete? The sludge stuff. The goo.
Yeah.
It had like a technical name that we both struggled with pronouncing.
Yeah.
But she goes inside that and it gets a bit trippy. Lots of horror basically plays her in it. So that was the first announcement. In third person as well, which is a deviation from the main campaign. Yeah. And then on top of that, they also announced that Mercenaries mode, which is the kind of guns-ho action kind of, not multiplayer, it's the kind of spin-off content you do after the campaign.
It's arcadey.
Yeah, arcade version. Yeah. RE Arcade. That's going to have some new characters. You're going to be able to play as Heisenberg, and also Lady Dimitrescu. She's returning as well.
The big lady.
The big lady's back, indeed. And then the final piece was, as Richie alluded to as well, third-person mode. Plays Ethan in third person for the entire campaign, which was my biggest hype moment of the Capcom showcase, because I thoroughly loved Resident Evil Village. I enjoyed our playthrough so much, but I'm also a much bigger fan of third-person games.
Yeah, I kind of like that they've done this. I'm wondering, I know, well, actually in the presentation it's outright said a lot of fans have been asking for it, but I'm wondering if because a lot of fans are asking for it, did they commit to doing Rose in third person, then thought, well, actually, this might just work. And I'm guessing they've tried out and went, this surprisingly works. It's probably not going to be too much effort to just convert it into third person.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is it completely recontextualizes the game. So it will play like a different game entirely.
Yeah, it's moments when kind of like the zombie creatures or the mutants or the werewolves, when they lunge at you and grab you in first person, it's very in your face direct. And when he kind of has his limbs attacked and everything, it's very visceral in your face. And from a third person's perspective, you can see more of your surroundings, you know your whereabouts a little bit more, and you can actually witness the character being jumped on essentially, as opposed to just at the camera. So yeah, it's going to make for some. I'm very intrigued the way they're going to have to go into some of the cutscene moments or just the dynamics of kind of the level layout, because there's going to be bits where you're hiding and traversing over the landscape, and it's going to be very different when you can actually see Ethan's whereabouts in relation to the enemies. But it's almost a bit of a Whiplash scenario with Capcom and Ari at the moment. They seem to go first person, then a remake that's back to third person, then first person again, and you're whipped around.
I think Resident Evil has kind of always leaned toward third person. Like right from the beginning, although it was more like tanky controls and like fixed cameras and stuff. I think that with 7 they went to first person, which because it was also a VR experience about
Certainly
it.
Was.
But I think first person can be a lot more immersive when you can't see your character because you're in the shoes of your character, especially in VR.
Oh yes.
So I think horror probably works better in a lot of ways from first person because, as you mentioned, when you're in tight corridors, you can't just peer your camera around the corner.
Yeah.
To see what's coming, yeah.
It certainly adds a different dynamic to horror, and I think the kind of resurgence we've seen across multiple like smaller horror games, I think helped make Capcom's decision because Resident Evil got a bit of stick for 6 when it was becoming too action-orientated and more like a pulp adventure, and to get back to the horror roots, I think they took inspiration from things like Outlast, Alien Isolation.
They leaned heavy into the horror with Resident Evil 7.
Yeah. Really
and that's why I think they made the decision to go to first person.
Yeah, and I think it benefit from the series has had such a rejuvenation. And then they've gone back, of course, and remade 2, remade 3, just about to remake 4. Will we see them on Stadia? Fingers crossed. I really do hope we do see them. But yeah, so I'm excited for the campaign in third person to play through as Ethan once again. We have to do it on the channel. You could be on the sticks this time, Richie.
Yeah, can do.
It comes out, we should actually confirm as well, it is announced to come out on the 28th of October, so that's perfectly set up for a Halloween stream to kick off here on Helix Cloud Games, of course, so that's exciting stuff. I am looking forward to Shadows of Rose. I think she's got an interest. By default and proxy of the two games, Rose has a fantastic backstory already, without even though she was just a baby.
Yeah, what I want the audience to do is in the comments below, let us know which one you want to see us cover first.
Good point.
Because
it all drops at the same time.
Yeah, so we have to pick one to go first. What I'm thinking is if I replay Resident Evil Village third person and you play the DLC.
That could be. Yeah, because then that continues on. I like it.
Yeah.
Mercenaries mode, I'm not too fussed on at all, really. It's great you get to play as different characters, and it looks like Lady Dimitrescu with her Wolverine claws is able to make shish kebabs out of Wolverines and stuff.
I feel like something Mercenaries mode is something fun to play around with if you get it day and date with the rest of the game. But when it's over a year later, it's like...
Oh, well, Mercenaries mode has been there. This is just new characters for Mercenaries.
Is it?
You're thinking of RE-verse.
Okay. Yes, sorry.
Which even at the showcase, they teased for a fraction of a second. So RE-verse, which of course was the multiplayer third-person inclusion to anyone who bought Resident Evil Village back in June 2021, that will be launching also or relaunching on October 28th too. So you're going to have an absolute multitude of things to play. But yeah, Richie, it is a bit ironic that I purchased this game last June, and I'm not going to be playing the included accompanying multiplayer until October the following year and beyond.
Yeah, the worrying thing for me is that they didn't show RE-verse. They've committed to a date because they didn't show it. I mean, this presentation wasn't an excessively long presentation. No. There was room to show a bit of RE-verse's gameplay, and they opted not to.
Yeah.
Like a couple of months before it's about release, after it's been known to have a bit of a troubled development. I'm worried now that they've give up on this and they're just sending it out to die. Yeah. So they can move on.
I think RE-verse is going to be a very basic multiplayer mode. I'm no doubt fun, but I don't think they have any intention to support it. Whereas
I don't think it's not going to have the staying power. After a couple of hours, I think you'll be done with it.
Yeah, and I think bundling it with the Shadows of Rose, the Mercenaries content, and the third-person stuff, I think basically just brushes RE-verse under the carpet and says, look,
that's my worry. It's like, we're just thrown out there to die. We've promised it. We can't back down because people pre-ordered a game to get this.
Yeah.
We have to release it. Let's just if we release it alongside this other stuff, which is more interesting, it's there.
Yeah.
If it does well, it does well.
We'll see. And amongst all the other stuff, they did announce next gen RE7, Biohazard 2 Remake and 3 Remake. That was available there and then right now. So if you do have those games on PlayStation 5, Xbox, you can claim them. This is, again, we've mentioned this a few times on the show, Richie, but at some point, you'd like to think Stadia are going to have to address where they sit. Are they next gen? Are they last gen 0.5? because we're starting to see a lot of next-gen releases, and it surely just becomes more frustrating when we have Biohazard on Stadia, but we're beholden to the old version. It doesn't seem to get that next-gen polish that a couple of titles are getting now.
Yeah, I'm actually quite optimistic about this. I don't think we might not get the same polish, but there's been a couple of titles been getting announced. I think we'll probably talk about one later in the show. That is next gen only. Well, PS5, Xbox Series gen, and Stadia.
Yeah, I see.
But we know actually the hardware the Stadia runs on is as powerful as the PlayStation and Xbox One. The difference is because it's got cloud gaming, it uses a lot of that power to be able to get it to you latency free.
Yeah, that's very
and
true.
Whatever witchcraft they're doing over there at Google. But in terms of actually running the game, the hardware doesn't seem to struggle with running it. Yeah. But I think they have to double the they have to render it at double resolution, then condense it down to get rid of a lot of the compression artifacts and stuff. Yeah. So I think if you're playing at 1080p, it's actually getting rendered at the server side at 2K, which is why I think a lot of people struggle to get 4K going, because then you effectively have to go probably to 6 or even 8K. Yeah, which is, it gets exponentially harder. So I'm not worried about Stadia in terms of its ability to play next-gen titles. It's more about whether they come.
Is it worth, it's that kind of catch-22, is it worth the investment for the sake of however many people might be bothered? It's kind of at the moment we're in that boat with Assassin's Creed Origins.
It is worth the investment because it's the investment of the future of your platform.
I meant from the developers.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like, well, why? We've sold 2 copies. Why bother? Kind of similar even at the moment, like Ubisoft, we didn't get Roller Derby. What was it called?
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on the name of that? The rollerblading one. Rollermania?
Yeah.
Rollermania. Maybe.
I'm blanking on it as well.
Because it's not out.
That one.
It's not out on the platform. Yeah. That's my point. It's not out on the platform yet. And then Assassin's Creed Origins has its kind of free weekend to celebrate the new 60 frames 4K patch. 4K patch? Yeah, that sounds about right. And we're none the wiser on that either. But either way, time will tell, folks. Time will tell. But yes, big exciting news from Capcom, from Resident Evil, and I really just have everything crossed that we do see RE2 and 3 remake. I actually have a tingling feeling that we might see them in the lead up to 4 remake, and I think if Stadia can just give Capcom another 10 million and be like, look, in January, Part 2 over. In February, Part 3 over. And in March, we launch with RE4 remake ready to go. Like, that would be an awesome start to next year if we got 3 hit, just like that.
That would be awesome, but I'm not as optimistic about it happening, because, again, it comes back round to Google needing to dump bags of cash at a developer to get these games over, which is something they don't seem to be doing.
Maybe Santa will bring us a surprise. We never know.
Maybe.
They're on
Hopefully.
Luna. That's the one thing that kind of gives me hope for it. That I know Luna doesn't run on the same. It's not running on Linux like Stadia is, but Capcom are actively out there porting titles to cloud for. I've got to imagine something.
I'm hoping Steam Deck, with it that being Linux based, does help. Yeah. Gives it that push to get developers. Oh, we'll port this off to Linux so we can get it on Steam Deck, and then Google can capitalize on that.
Yeah, that's when the low key porting comes in and goes, ho, we've got you guys. You've already done all the work Linux wise.
Bring it over here. Just bring it over here.
Stick it through the conveyor belt and it'll just shit out a Stadia version on the other end. That's how coding works. Anyway, folks, let's move on to story number 2 of the week. So we had the community blog post. Nice surprise on Tuesday. Didn't know what we were going to get. New game announcements following the Resident Evil news? No. New game announcements following titles to drop this week? No. We got updates regarding some new games on the way via some additional trials on Stadia. Currently, there are now 26 click-to-play trials available right now via stadia.com/trials, with the addition of 9 new titles, Richie. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, Far Cry Primal, Outriders, Golf with Your Friends, Lake, Deliver Us the Moon, The Falconeer, Lumort the Mastermode Chronicles, Through the Darkest of Times, and Deathrun TV. 9 new games to click to play with no subscription needed, as far as I'm aware. Ready to go. What do you think, Richie? Is this just Stadia trying to literally pull more people in by giving more titles with demos and trials?
Yeah, I think we're just going to keep seeing more and more of this. I think as well, Google are using Stadia a bit as a tech demo for immersive stream.
Mm-hmm.
So having games from multiple different publishers is always going to be good. Is always going to be good for them. But I think this is a good thing for Stadia. There's no downside to this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're interested in Stadia, you want to see how it works for you, you can try some awesome games out, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Outriders, Far Cry 6, all pretty new titles in the last, 1 year, about roughly them three, about a year
Yeah,
old.
just over a year, yeah.
Yep, all AAA. You can see how well that performs for you. So, yeah, if you're interested in Stadia, not sure if I can handle it, jump in, give it a go.
Certainly. It's again leaning on that Ubisoft relationship that they do have, but at the same time, we've got PlayStation offering game trials to top tier premium members. We've got Xbox talking about bringing E3 demos and stuff to users via the cloud. And here we are, Stadia just keep doing it. Of course, various time limits on each game. They've all got their own unique time allowances, but
it's usually half an hour or an hour depending on the game.
Indeed, yeah, an indie game you could put like Death Run TV. If they gave you like 2 hours, you'd probably get your fill out of it maybe in a quick fix. But it's nice to see a good bit of variety. We're not sure how these titles will rotate out, but 26 click-to-play titles is awfully good promotional work right there. You love to see it.
I don't think we'll see these rotate out. I think that's it. They're there. There's no I can't see why the developer or publisher would go, oh, we don't want this there now.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's just like you get, again, as I said, about half an hour to an hour experience of that game, which is going to be the opening areas. So it's basically going, hey, do you want to play this? The opening probably hour or two of a game anyway is designed to draw you into the game.
Yeah.
So giving that to people for free and going, you wanna buy the game now, please?
Please.
There's no downside for anyone.
That is very true. One of the things I do hope that the Stadia team actually embrace is marketing this. So we've got some big Assassin's Creed news coming up in the next story of the week. We know Far Cry gets its promotional content. Outriders has the World Slayer Fest Year expansion coming out at the end of this month. Deliver Us the Moon has Deliver Us Mars coming out later this year. And Golf with Your Friends just announced some DLC, albeit not coming to Stadia. But what I do really want to see them do is just get behind them and say, look, if you're excited about the new Assassin's Creed expansion, play a trial on Stadia right now. Like, sing it from the rooftops. Don't just post it in a blog post that only Stadia players read. Get it in the YouTube algorithm. Get it out there on advertisements on TV or whatever you need to do to just talk about your platform using all of the hard work you've put in.
I was going to say YouTube because what we've just said is here is 9 games. That's 9 YouTube videos. You have you cut a trailer over, and then you end the trailer with try now, completely free. Click the link in the description below. Mm-hmm. And whatever device you're currently watching that video on, just click the link. You don't need to overkill the Stadia branding on it.
Mm-hmm.
Let them find that out when they boot the game up. Just go, hey, you interested in Assassin's Creed Valhalla? He's the trailer. Click to play now. Links in description. 1 hour free. Go.
Yeah.
And just go click.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've never tried any of these trials, but I hope after the end of the trial it goes, would you like to buy it?
I'd hope so. It'd be a very missed opportunity if they didn't kind of tease you with the carrot at the end of the stick and say, look, you've just played an hour of Valhalla. Want to play the rest of it it's on sale at the moment as well, so get it in there. But yeah, just do something more with it. You've got this great tech and you don't shout about it. Like we shout about it. The content creators out there, the audience, the people on social media shout about it more than sometimes the official channels do. So
the official Stadia channel has more subs than us, so
I'm glad
it's better
to know.
for them to do it.
Good to know. That is good to know. But yes, so that was part of the community blog this week. Plenty more free trials to check out. We also got some updates on Rainbow Six Siege. Has a Year 7 Season 2 is now live. So if you're a big fan of Rainbow Six Siege, as we are, it's up there too as well. And there's also, from June 23rd through to June 27th, you can also play Rainbow Six Siege without spending a dime. So it looks like we're in for another free weekend, Richie, this week as the show goes live. So the upcoming weekend off the back of the Assassin's Creed Origins free weekend that we've just enjoyed. Actually, if you're listening to this on the Monday morning, it's still there now for a few more hours. But actually, you know what? It's on offer for like £8.90 something. I bought it. Used my Google Play points. I bought another game on Stadia, Assassin's Creed Origins. Fantastic stuff. So go enjoy it.
I should buy it.
You should buy it. And then you should do a stream on the channel and I can watch you. you enjoy it, because it's been many years since I played Origins, so I like to go back in with other people. That sounds weird. Anyway, moving on. We've also got Explorer Cold and Hostile Norse Archipelago. Ark's new official community map has dropped as well, so just some quick ones from the community blog here. Dead by Daylight, Roots of Dread chapter is now available, so if you're still out there slaughtering the masses, the new Killer Dredge is available now, so that's some more horror. New map. In the Gardens of Joy content, that's available now for $6.99 on the Stadia store, so if you're still playing that. There's loads of Dead by Daylight offers up in the sale as well, so if you are looking at extra character packs and such, Philly Boots as part of the massive Stadia summer sale, Richie. There's some good ones in there. I think Cyberpunk's got about 50% off, Elder Scrolls 70%, Valhalla, aforementioned, 45% off. Lara Croft Temple of Osiris 85% off, and then even more discount if you're a pro member. So yeah, what's teasing you at the moment? What you got your eye on aside from Origins?
I don't want to be negative, but nothing.
Oh,
I've said for a while now, pretty much every game I want on Stadia I already have. Like things like Origins, like I've not been desperate to ever play that. And I know it's one of them I could just pick up dead cheap on multiple platforms.
Yeah.
So, and then I've always said I'll probably jump into that next time I have Ubisoft Plus. So that's why I haven't just went, I need to get that while it's in the sale.
Yeah. I said on our live stream this week, I bought Origins I had about £22 worth of Google Play credits saved up, because since I've been out in the real world again, I'm being hit with rewards surveys left, right and centre. Again, if you watch this show, have Stadia and an Android phone, and you don't have the Google rewards credits app or whatever it's called,
you should get it.
You should get it. They literally give you free money for answering quick surveys about, have you been to this shop this week? Yes. Did you spend money? Yes. Did you use your debit or credit card? Yes. Do you have a receipt? No. There's 19 pence, and they just add up.
And if you're worried about people collecting your data, just lie.
Yeah. I always say I don't have a receipt, but I do have a receipt. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. Half the time I lie on these servers.
Yeah, so I had £22 odd, and then I was tempted in by Origins, and then I noticed on Twitter people were saying the deluxe edition of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction was the deluxe version was there for like £16-17, and I was like, oh no, I've just spent my points, and I'm now like £1.10 off the amount to cover the cost of the Extraction Deluxe Edition. So plenty of sales out there, folks. Go fill your boots. As I said, a big one for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is our next story of the week. We got the final drop, the long-awaited drop of the Discovery Tour Viking Age. So for those familiar with the Assassin's Creed reboot trilogy, every one of these games, Origins, Odyssey, and now Valhalla, has done an educational non-combat version of the game, which came after the fact, to basically take you through the rich history and heritage that Ubisoft delves so deep into when creating these games. They don't just make them from scratch, they do a shit ton of research. Like, credit where credit's due. Ubisoft really go all out, and in the past they've done like full-scale replica scans of like famous buildings. We saw Notre Dame. Yeah.
There's, in fact, after Notre Dame got caught on fire, they used the scans that Ubisoft did to help for the rebuild.
Yeah, because it was so detailed, which is a fantastic story. And I always think the architecture in Ubisoft games is absolutely fantastic. The Greek architecture in Odyssey, the temples. And again, they obviously make it look like it was befitting of the time, which is what I appreciate. Yeah. So when you go back to the pyramids in Origins, Richie, they're obviously not wasted away like they are today. They are brand new with like the nice gold
sandblasted for thousands of years.
They're like gold capped, and it's like white marble stone, and it's beautiful. All the paint and all the hieroglyphics are all like freshly painted, and it's amazing to run around and walk in. And the Discovery Tours, they actually give you a really good educational insight. So I've always said I love the Assassin's Creed games because it's an adventure through history. All of the stuff you were taught in school come to life in a video game. What's not to love about that? And in Origins, they teach you about how they kind of mummify people, and you basically walk around and hit these touch points like a virtual tour in a museum, and it basically has an audio overlay that tells you about what happened here. So if you go to York or Jorvik in Valhalla, it will no doubt tell you about the Viking invasion and how the town was changed around and embraced different religions and all that kind of stuff. So I love these Viking Age, these Discovery Tours. I think they're a nice touch point for not only education, which as someone whose wife is a teacher, I appreciate that side of things more, I think, as an adult than I ever did as an actual child. And Tom, of course, many times on the channel says he's trying to utilise this in his classes, that Imagine if you're a kid today and you're doing a history lesson on Vikings and you get to go play Assassin's Creed as your homework, potentially, on a free trial with Google Stadia at no extra cost.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great. It'd be great. I mean, this is actually extra cost for this. $15.99.
This one is for now, yeah.
Which is, it's a shame that there's that price tag on it, because I can just imagine how great it would be just as a gamer. If you're a gamer and a teacher and you walk into a class and everyone sat there on their PCs in lesson, just learning about the Vikings via Assassin's Creed, that would be like...
There's such a proud moment as a gamer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because as gamers, like... We've grew up when gaming was stigmatized, like a waste of time, that sort of stuff, and it's like
rot your brain
to literally have this is a purely educational tool. It's fantastic to see.
Yeah, I'm just watching the video now that's playing. It tells you about like the culture, the heritage. They've got real world photos. It shows you how the regions of England were split up at the time into like Wessex, Sussex, and such like that. And to read from the blog, essentially, it says, experience the world of Vikings in a map free of conflict or gameplay constraints with Discovery 2 of Viking Age. Immerse yourself in the Viking Age as you roam through Norway, England, and the mythical realms of Jotunheim and Asgard. Relive the history through stories with 8 major quests and discover 9th to 11th century Northern Europe. Interact with charismatic historical or fictional characters including King Alfred, shipbuilders, monks, and more. Play your part in history through a new experience where you become a key actor in narrative quests. Discovery Tour is also included in the Valhalla free update. So if you already own Valhalla, you get this by the sounds of it. Which means if you do the free trial, you might be able to get it. If you're quick enough to get out of the tutorial area to actually get to the Discovery Age point.
That's perfect, then. I might actually jump into this, then.
Yeah, this one actually does sound like they've gone a lot deeper. So as I mentioned with Origins, it was very much you walked around the map and it played the audio of like, oh, mummification, they went up your nose and they scraped your brains out. Sarcophagus,
that might be
blah, blah, blah.
That might be why they took a bit longer to do it, to just gamify it a bit.
Yeah, well, the feedback's always been great. I've seen BBC articles about these educational pieces. So yeah, available now, and of course on Stadia. So fill your boots, is either standalone or if you've got Valhalla. At this point, $15.99 UK pounds for Discovery Tour, whereas Valhalla's on sale right now, so at like 45% off. So you might as well get the full game, folks, if it's included. Yeah, you really might.
It's included in Ubisoft Plus, so if that's another route you could go.
Or that, you could always sub up to that as well. But that's not it for the Assassin's Creed Valhalla news, because this is the game that keeps on giving, in the words of Thor Odin's son, Richie. He needs the hammer. DLC? What does he say? That's not even Thor who says that.
He needs the axe.
Axe. What does that say? Hammer? Yeah. Either way, it's been a while since I've seen Infinity War. Assassin's Creed news continues with a
Where's the handle?
Get me a handle. The Forgotten Saga mode comes later this summer. So this is a roguelike, roguelite inspired fight, fail, learn as you improve on your weapons, your skill set. And of course, if you die, as with most roguelites, all your shit is lost. But it is a new game mode exploring Niflheim, which is is it the Dark Elves in Niflheim? I get my Heims mixed up when it comes to the 9 realms of Norse mythology.
I think so. Let us know in the comments.
It's like Svartalheim, Niflheim, Hell, Asgard. What was Earth's Midgard? Yeah. Jotunheim is the Ice Giants, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Jotunheim's definitely Ice Giants.
Yeah, so either way, Forgotten Saga, fresh take on the gameplay, roguelite experience, and it's free. It's a free update with Valhalla, which is fantastic. This came off the back of the Assassin's Creed Showcase event that happened midweek to celebrate the 15th anniversary of Assassin's Creed, Richie. 15 years this IP has been in our lives for. Who knew when you were jumping off the roof as Altair back in number 1 that it would evolve into what crazy massive IP it is today. And finally, they did also announce that later this year, I think around September, they said there will be one more surprise in store for Valhalla, which will serve as the last chapter in Eivor's story, and also which it will also be free to Assassin's Creed owners, so another free chapter update. And it will all be also be followed by a special Assassin's Creed event, which is going to showcase the future of the franchise. So I would expect either a Ubisoft Connect in September, or possibly just another standalone showcase.
It might not be I'm guessing this is not going to be Ubisoft Connect. I think it's going to be like a very specific
Connect, I said Connect.
Ubisoft Forward. I think it's going to be a very specific Assassin's Creed probably anniversary event, similar to like how Square Enix has just had a Final Fantasy 7 anniversary event. I think it might be more along them lines.
Very true.
We're going to focus on just one franchise.
Yeah. Speaking of Final Fantasy, guess what show we'll be discussing all that news on this week?
CloudQuest.
No, PlayStation one.
Yeah. I mean, it will come up from CloudQuest.
I mean, yeah, probably will. Cloud and all that. Anyway, moving on. Next story of the week. We actually discussed it last week about Saints Row coming to Google Stadia with the ESRB teas and ratings and stuff. And then we know people over on Reddit and the social media said about, just an ESRB area. We did say on the show last week, an ESRB rating does not mean shit sometimes when it comes to it, as we'll know from the next story of the week. However, our friend Bryant over at the Nerf Report has done very much a lot of due diligence, and he delved into the coding of the recently released Boss Factory, which is a free-to-download, create your character portion that they've kind of siphoned off before the game launches. I think to kind of build it up and just let people get stuck into the creativeness of Saints Row. And within the coding, Brian, there's a video over on his channel. Go check out the Nerf Report. Fantastic channel for Stadia and cloud content. He dove into the XEE files and found the reference to Stadia a couple of times over, Richie. I know you've said it before. I think you believe that a version exists or existed for it to be rated. Do you think any more to this coding being included in this particular siphon of the game?
It doesn't change my views from last week, where I hope it comes. There's no guarantee it comes, but I believe there is definitely a build out there. God knows what state it's in, but they're clearly planning for it to come to Stadia at one point at the very least. This coding, it could be strengthened. It could be viewed to be, Saints Row is coming to Stadia, he's more evidence towards it, or it could be just he's some leftover code.
Mm-hmm. Can go either,
it could just be
either.
It could just be leftover code from like earlier in development that they just haven't got rid of.
Yeah, so this goes back to probably what my take was, because we were originally going to do a retcon ritual potentially about Saints Row and say like, it's ESRB rated, but it doesn't mean that much. However, part of me still holds on to, we had Rainbow Six Extraction in January, right? Did the people at Google and Stadia really think they can get away with the rest of the year and not bring out a AAA game? Like, is that literally their plan, to go all the way through to January next year and give us one AAA title in the second whole year of the platform? Because I think that's taking the piss if they think they can get away with that. Nobody will notice we don't have any of the big titles this year in our third year on the market. Nobody will complain. They'll keep buying all the indie games we put out. No. I think they must have some budget for one freaking game this year. And everything seems to be pointing towards Saints Row more than anything. Like, Ubisoft ones aside, we know we're going to get Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. The next story kind of confirms another title. But Ubisoft are almost a sure bet. Roll of Champions.
We're getting Roll of Champions, just not yet.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. It skated on back to me eventually. But yeah, like, Richie, like, surely, right, we're not going to go the entirety of 2022 and get one AAA game. Are we?
It's looking that way.
Oh, could you imagine if we could go back in time and tell you and me this in January when we sat there on the imminent launch of Extraction and said, this is all you're getting?
Yeah. And as AAA games go, Extraction is nowhere near a biggie.
I mean, it came and went as far as I'm concerned anyway. I think it's fun, it's good, but it did nothing to keep my
It came and went,
at all.
and it's a predominantly multiplayer game. Multiplayer games are designed to be a bit more lasting. Like, a AAA single-player title that's like, I don't know, a 20-hour long story, that can come and go and have a huge impact in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
A multiplayer title, if that comes and goes in the same time frame, nope, not so much.
Yeah, it says a lot. I'm sure it'll have a spike come Halloween when they add more alien people to it, but more people are probably playing Rainbow Six Siege again.
You know what? It might have a very quiet but like committed fan base.
I hope it does. Again, I imagine no ill will on it, but
I'd imagine there's a lot of diehard Siege players who occasionally jump on Extraction as a change of pace.
Yeah, like a palate cleanser or something for goddamn kicking through the wall, blowing everything up. But we shall see. So Saints Row, it had its ESRB. There's code out there. Now all we need is THQ Nordic and Volition to come out and say, hey, yes, it is actually coming this August, because we're getting very close to August, Richie, and I think the community needs a boon. They need that kind of just, oh yes, we've got a big game. Because other than that, we're just waiting for what? FIFA is the next big one, right? So who knows?
Was FIFA actually confirmed?
No, but that's what I'm saying. That would be the next. That would be the next one I would expect to come to the platform. And we'll have a different conversation when we get to that bridge. Anyway, moving on. As we said, ESRB ratings don't mean anything unless you're a pirate, potentially. Skull and Bones has been rated for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC, and the one and only Google Stadia, but not for the lowly PS4 and Xbox One, Richie. This is where Stadia can come into its own. Skull and Bones is next.
With your old consoles, which I have one on my desk.
We digress. If we can take that as a win, we'll take it. Yes, Skull and Bones, the long-awaited pirate game spin-off from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which I was playing on PS3, I'm pretty sure. I had the crossover one. It must be near release at this point, because it's been rated. We don't know what that necessarily means. But it's interesting, the news outlets are picking up on it because it hasn't been rated for last gen, so PS4 and Xbox One versions, which seems to be a trend at the moment. We're now starting to see developers move away from doing multi-platform, cross-platform, cross-generation, which is good.
It's been almost 2 years.
It's good. I guess the only concern with this, just like Saints Row last week, is... Well, actually, you know what? One, it's a Ubisoft game, so I do think we're getting it. I think that's a safe issue with the Ubisoft and Google connection we've got over here. The odd thing that comes out of all this one, Richie, is the location in which it was rated. It was rated in Brazil, which 20 Stadia players out there, none of you are from Brazil because it's not available in that country yet.
Yeah. Brazil's one that I always remember it's not there because it's one of the most asked questions, like when Stadia coming to Brazil. Mm-hmm. I see it all the time, people asking Google when Stadia coming to Brazil. Yeah,
because we've mentioned a few times, games consoles in Brazil are expensive due to the nature of import tax and stuff as well. So cloud gaming would be a huge win for them. I should point out, I did say ESRB rating. It's not. It's the equivalent Brazilian ratings.
Yeah,
board.
It's actually with the Brazilian Ministry of Justice.
Seems serious.
Which is okay, if that's who does it.
Hey, they take pirates really seriously in Brazil, Richie. Yeah. But so Skull and Bones. It looks like it's crawling ever closer to release. We of course got that gameplay leak a few weeks ago. But yeah, who knows? It was hoped that the game might be out. I think it was revealed at 2017, teased for 2018, and here we are in 2022, awaiting Skull and Bones.
I don't know what to make of this. The optimist in me wants to go, "Oh my God, Stadia's coming to Brazil," but the pessimist in me, which is usually the louder voice in my head, is kind of going, "This is just leftover. This is just leftover code or something," or they're just. When they've submitted it, they just ticked all the boxes of the platform it's going to. They might have submitted this to PEGI, to ESRB, to various boards at the same time, just ticked all the boxes for all the platforms, even if the platform isn't in the country.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's an interesting place to be in because I think we're under the impression that if Stadia starts to be listed alongside Next Gen only, it's a free win. If you see PS5, Series X, Stadia and PC, it's a good win to see your name up there with the current gen, next gen tech. It just needs to come to fruition.
I don't think Stadia even needs to have the same comparable graphics.
No.
To the local hardware. But it does need to have the library.
That's always the sticking point. Well, you know what, Richie? If you're looking for an awesome game to fill out your library, look no further than our next story of the week, because swinging onto the scene is the one and only Mask of Zorro. Zorro, the Chronicles, I think we mentioned on last week's show, was rated. The good old ratings board, filling our short with plenty of stories. We did actually cover, I think Nakon took over as publishers, and then hey-ho, it's released. Play Zorro and his sisters in this action and stealth game inspired by not the classical movie featuring one Antonio Banderas.
It's based on a TV show, isn't it?
It is. It's the Zorro Chronicles, which I think is a Netflix show, I want to say. Parents in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Free the people, restore the justice, and mock Sergeant Garcia by signing your name with the tip of your sword, as Zorro does. There's actually, not a fun fact, but when I go for a walk around my local neighbourhood, there's a paving stone that has a Z etched into it, where I think someone must have had a stone grinder from the local council or something at one point.
Yeah.
And I cannot help walk past it every time, and I'm like, Zorro's been here.
Your wife, I bet I can see your wife's face every time now.
Zorro.
The eye roll.
Yeah,
you do it every single time.
It really is. I'll have to take a photo next time out just to prove that Zorro has in fact been to my neighbourhood with a stone grinder, just to put his stamp on my local area. So yes, another game dropped. Again, one of those weird ones, not included in the community blog, and yet it's out this week. They're so picky and choosy when it comes to the news. It's odd.
Yeah, I don't get it. A new game coming out is better than I think there was a patch for something in there.
It was. It was for something Flashpoint, Breakpoint, something point. Well, I can't remember how much. We joke about the lack of games, and yet
Phoenix
I can't
Point.
remember.
Yeah, there's a patch to Phoenix Point. Gets into the blog. An actual new game coming out doesn't.
Yeah, it's not just a game, Richie. It's Zorro. It's Chronicles of Zorro. Get with it. But of course, we digress. More new games, always good to see. And it does look like an outright game, but it's not. This one's published by Nacon, which we did mention when it was rated was one of the low-key porting partners that was showcased at the Google for Games Developer Summit. So that could, in fact, be the game. Although I am hoping we get to see Gollum this year. Because, again, we need one AAA game this year after Extraction. It might be Gollum. It might be Skull and Bones. It might be that. Or is it just, in fact, Zorro? Who knows? But luckily, we've got plenty of indie games to keep us ticking over, Richie, just like Ubisoft, with a tried and tested method of porting some old games across to flesh out not only the Ubisoft Plus library, but also Google Stadia's library. Our good friend Lee Reed over at Stadia Source points out that Valiant Hearts, The Great War, has been rated for Stadia. That's right, it's a rating. The ratings are through the roof this week, Richie, on this show. Not for the show itself, more so the news that we're discussing in it. Valiant Hearts. This is... I absolutely adore this game. I played it on PlayStation 3. Way back when it was a PlayStation Plus game.
Is this not the sequel?
No, there isn't a sequel to it. This is just...
No, I think there's Valiant Hearts. Oh, it's Valiant Hearts, the game, The Great War. I thought the first game was just the Valiant Hearts. Or am I just completely wrong in this?
It's just this one game, as far as I'm aware.
All right. Oh, yeah, it's just the 2014 game.
2014, God. That takes me back. It was a free PlayStation Plus game. Beautiful art style, tells the story of multiple characters in the trenches during the Great War, of course, the First World War. It's got 2D puzzle adventure involved between the survivors. You mess around with a dog and various characters from various countries. And it just tells a really sweet story in a time of hardship, and the puzzle solving isn't anything too strenuous. It's kind of similar to kind of Inside and Limbo, where it's like little nightmares, not with the horror elements, but I mean in terms of like you pull something out that collapses an exit, you can escape, you have to crawl through a certain vent to unlock a latch to get the door, like that kind of puzzle. The
puzzles are more meant to let you to dwell on a scene for the building of the atmosphere rather than actually head scratcher. How do I resolve this?
Yeah, you're not sat there playing Sudoku. It's quite emotional in parts. There is a dog involved, which always can create emotion if you're a pet lover out there as well. But yeah, it came out that long ago. The Ubisoft logo is the old Ubisoft logo, but glad to see it's got a rating. Love to see it come across, and we'll probably get a good launch price because that tends to what happens with these type of games as well. But
I'm betting pro for that. Actually,
it won't be.
It's Ubisoft.
See, it would. I would have said if it was made by anyone other than Ubisoft, pro game.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's Ubisoft. Still supporting the good old Google Stadia folks. Moving on, speaking of supporting Google Stadia, an interesting story came from the world of Twitter this week, which hopefully, Richie, I'm sure is right up your street. Crime and Cloud pointed this out to me over on Twitter. If you head over to the Atlus website, of course, Atlus famed for the Persona franchise, they had a bit of a blowout at the Xbox showcase this week, bringing Persona games finally to Xbox, and then later on it was also revealed that actually they're coming to PlayStation as well, which I've heard reading the news. Apparently everyone else was NDA'd from saying that it was coming out on PlayStation, and then it was leaked. So that NDA didn't last very long.
Well, it's probably the NDA is probably until the announcement of at the Xbox showcase, probably plus 24 hours or something like that. I'd imagine it'd be something along them sort of lines.
Something along them lines. But either way, I know you are a massive Persona fan, and the reason I bring it up is because if you go over to the Atlus website to subscribe to like the newsletters and be kept in the loop with the games, the option, as with most things when you subscribe, it asks you about your preferred platform of choice. And if you go over there, it has PlayStation, it has Xbox, it has Switch, it has Steam, and then tagged right there on the end, Richie, is the Google Stadia logo. Now, as far as I'm aware, we don't have any Atlus titles on the platform as of now. So what does this mean? So what does this mean, Richie? Is this the Persona collection potentially coming to the cloud with Stadia?
Persona is being one of them. I mean, I've only actually played Persona 5. I haven't played any of the Persona 5 spin-offs. I do have Strikers on PS Plus, which it is installed on my PS5. It's one of the games I'm debating jumping into.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played any of the others, so when I say I'm a big Persona fan, I'm a big Persona 5 fan.
How many hours?
I haven't had the opportunity. Oh, God, like over 200.
Right, so I've played 0 hours, so you're a much bigger fan than I have, just based on time in your life spent.
I've completed Persona 5 twice. The second time I got the platinum as well.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
So would this would do it for you then if we got Persona 3 and 4 Golden?
Yeah, well, I know like Persona 4 Golden's already on Steam, but it coming to consoles and to other consoles and Stadia instead of just being trapped on, like, I think Persona 4 Golden's on the Vita. I think Persona 3 it was PSP.
Yeah,
bringing these to modern hardware is definitely something I when I was watching the Xbox showcase, I went, what? Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah,
especially because they're coming to Game Pass, but now. If these come to Stadia, that's going to be a real dilemma.
And we had, of course, like a big boon of JRPGs last year. If you remember, we got tons of them from like various developers, and it was almost like, I think we said about like this could be Stadia could be a great platform to introduce Japanese content to the West and via the cloud.
With Persona 3 and Persona 4 Golden both being optimized for portable devices, this pushes me more towards getting them on Stadia and Kishi, because then I can use a Kishi.
Yeah,
because the game's designed for that sort of form factor.
You're right. I have, of course, I said to you, I bought Persona 4 Golden when they announced they were going to close down the Vita PlayStation Store, and I've heard nothing but amazing things, and it was on sale, and I thought I've got like 2 months to either buy this game or find a physical copy, which is like they're on eBay for ridiculous amounts now. I was like, right, you know what, I'm going to make that commitment. And then they announced they're going to extend the store time open. But I have it. It's there. I have it ready to go. But when you say 200 hours, that scares me.
Yeah, that's Persona 5. They are long games.
Yeah, exactly. But I've never really committed to a JRPG, so...
Yeah, I think someone on Discord was asking me about it, and I was like, Persona is very much, in my experience, not an entry-level JRPG. It's not like a Final Fantasy 15 or a Pokemon where it's easy to get into. It's turn-based combat. It's actually Persona kind of has some weird like social simulation elements to it, like very like anime-esque. Just imagine if you take like like a Japanese high school anime and slap a JRPG battle system onto it, and so it works. It's fantastic game. But if you're not into them things, it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
But if you are into them things, it's probably for you.
I'm open to new ideas. I need the right moment in time. It's the same with like the Dark Souls games, like Sekiro. I was tempted by Sekiro. I think it's on offer for like £20 at the moment. I'm like, as soon as Sekiro drops down to like a £15 game, I was like, go on, give it a go. Give it a go.
5 is PlayStation Plus, so you should actually have it.
Yeah, I do. It's just, again, it's the time.
It's a bit. I mean, it's a big long game, but
yeah. And I'd like to take it on the move. So, like you said, Stadia would be phenomenal for that. So, fingers crossed. There's some work in the behind the scenes happening with Atlus. Again, Richie, we got to get some AAA games at some point this year. So maybe Atlus is the answer.
Persona 5 Royale could be the absolute. That would be a big game to drop this year on Stadia.
Well, hopefully Atlus will bring us a roadmap of some sort, and we'll see what the future holds.
I'm not going to stream it. I'm not playing that game again.
200-hour streams from Richie. But speaking of big, massive things to happen, part of the Xbox franchise showcase also brought us some interesting news as well, that one Hideo Kojima is no longer working exclusively with PlayStation. He still is doing PlayStation. Expect no doubt a Death Stranding 2 or something in the near future. They announced a partnership between Xbox Game Studios and Kojima Productions. And the reason we bring it up is, I'll just read straight from the Xbox blog. Today, we also announced a partnership between Xbox Game Studios and Kojima Productions to create a video game for Xbox like no one has ever experienced or seen before, leveraging the power of the cloud. Hideo Kojima is one of the most innovative and creative minds in our industry, and we can't wait to share what our teams will create together. And of course, the big takeaway from that is using the power of the cloud. Now, some of you will recall many, probably months ago at this point, Richie, we recalled an article from VGC that Kojima was actually in discussions with Google Stadia about making a cloud-related title, and some people think that evolved into Death Stranding in some way, shape or form, but the way he likes to think outside the box with his games, apparently he's not very happy with Google and the way it was all handled, which, no surprise there, they haven't been the best in terms of supporting games and or studios. But he's then since obviously branched out. He's got his own studio now he's broke away from Konami, and he's partnered with Xbox to utilize the power of the cloud. I have no idea what this could look like, but
no, it's Kojima. Christ knows what this game could be.
But it just goes back to.
I think I never thought it was Death Stranding because the timelines did not match up. Because Death Stranding would have been well into development when these potential conversations started happening.
That's true.
So this was me. I always just assumed that this is the game that he was planning to work on after Death Stranding.
I think misspoke, and I meant some of the things he wanted to implement in Death Stranding with like all the other players implement. He couldn't do it because there wasn't enough power.
Because I can imagine, because he's very much an artist, an auteur. He's moved away from Konami. Mm-hmm. He's no longer bound to one franchise. He's got a chance to spread his wings a bit. He's come up with all sorts of crazy ideas for Death Stranding. And there's probably stuff he's come up with that won't work unless it's in the cloud. Mm-hmm. We'll shelve that idea, and then we'll talk to the cloud guys. Yeah.
And it sounds like he had some probably discussions with Google at some point regarding Stadia and the tech, and no doubt they showcase like, oh look, Assassin's Creed Odyssey running fantastically with no hardware. You can utilize this like power somehow to make a game you've never needed before. I could see his eyes almost like glaze over and be like, my brain is going wild with what I could do with this technology now. Utilizing the cloud in some way, like different devices, and connect them across. Like, could you imagine someone like Psycho Mantis jumping through every screen that you possibly own in one go? Yeah. Some crazy shit like that. But evidently, it's going to come to fruition, just not on Stadia. So just like The Quarry, just like Harmonix's game, it's gone. The amazing content has gone elsewhere. And this time it's landed with Xbox Game Studios. So we won't probably hear anything for quite a while. They showed no concept art. They showed no theories or trailers. It was very much just Kojima addressing the camera, happy to work with Xbox. Phil Spencer, thrilled to bits, as are Xbox players and fans. But you know what? It'll probably be coming to Game Pass day one. You can probably, ironically, play it in the cloud. So no limitations or restrictions. Exciting times ahead. Moving on, Richie, to some of our final topics of the week. Just one last quick little one here. Our good friend Duncan, or from Cloud Gaming Extreme and Cloudy with a Chance of Games, reached out to the devs behind Wreckfest. Of course, the racing game, the beat 'em up racing game, I was going to say, on Stadia. And the Wreckfest has been slowly but surely getting a bit of stick out there on social media because they haven't been updating the game with the tournaments that they run. So like the weekly, monthly tournaments to rack up points and customize your car and stuff, your vehicles. And they said they confirmed to Duncan that it'll be coming soon and in line with other versions of the game. So by the sounds of the game's due like a big 2.0, 3.0 patch update, and they're going to drag Stadia out of the dirt. Not Dirt 5. They're going to drag it up in line with other things. So yeah, about time.
I didn't even realise that Wreckfest was lagging behind because I haven't really been paying that much attention to it. It's a fun game, but I'm not huge on my racing games.
Yeah, it's been a good while since we've played it on.
I'm glad they're sorting it out though.
Yeah,
it's like hopefully they'll keep on top of it this time.
It's about time. It's about time. But that is, speaking of time, all we've got for on this week's episode of the Sounds of Stadia podcast, episode number 143 of your weekly Stadia show, where we round up all of the Stadia and cloud gaming news. So you're listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/Helix Cloud Games, and also up there on the digital podcast of your choice in the cloud. Richie, it's been a fun one. Episode 143, of course. We kickstart the show by telling you, our amazing viewers and listeners who've stuck with us through thick and thin, through all the news, through very dry periods of news, to today. And of course, we're absolutely thrilled that we are branching out a little bit more into some more cloud gaming content under the banner of PlayStation, this time out with our brand new podcast that goes live tomorrow, episode 1 of Talking the PS, where myself, Richie, and our 2 brand new co-hosts, who you'll see very, very soon, as we break down all of the Sony PlayStation news in line with PlayStation Plus, cloud gaming, and other such topics in the same realm of Sony's console. I cannot wait. I'm going to have to change my lights to blue just to get ready for it, Richie. I'm going to have to go wear a PlayStation t-shirt, of which I have a few, so I have to skim through and see. And we're basically just going to nerd out with some more friends, and we'd love you to join us. We really would. And again, thank you to all of our Helix Heroes for your continued support. You not only get early access to content, you get badges, you get stickers, but more importantly, you help us really bring this channel to life and do more content. So we hope you enjoy the show. We'd love to hear some feedback and comments. We're open to changing and adapting things, of course. Even the day, realistically, we're looking to put it out on a Tuesday because we don't want it to clash with this very show. But it's all very flexible at the moment. But we do hope you enjoy it. It's been a long time coming, as I said, and we can't wait to get started on the next chapter of Helix Cloud Games 2. So that's it from me, though. You can find me at CyberChris2077. You can find Richie at
RichieC89.
And you can find all of us at Helix Cloud Games. But that's it for this show. My name's Chris.
And I've been Richie.
We've been Sounds of Stadia from Helix Cloud Games. And remember, folks, play whatever makes you the happiest. See you next week. Or tomorrow if you're going to watch the PlayStation podcast. See you then. Goodbye.
You should watch it. It's good. Bye.
Please do.